What's up, legends? Once again, it's time to give you guys an update on how to play Loba in Season 15 of Apex Legends. Without further ado, let's get it. Bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam, ba, bam, 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 ba, 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 bam. As you guys know, I do this video once a season, so a lot of the concepts are going to be the same from previous seasons. Regardless, I still do my best to give you guys new and fresh tips that you guys may have not heard before. So we'll start off with the basics and then make our way to more specific things concerning Loba. First off, you should always be looking for better angles with Loba. And here's what I mean by this. 99% of the fights you take are going to involve your team at position A and the enemy team at position B somewhere in front of you. Most fights do not take place in wide open fields. There is almost always a position of high ground that you could take. That's your first step as a Loba main in every fight that you get in. Once you realize that an enemy team is near you, of course put some shots into the enemy to stop them from pushing you. Wait for a moment very early on in that fight to go and take high ground. This is the term that I've coined vertical repositioning. Repositioning to high ground. Because as I've said, most fights that you get into, there's always going to be a building next to you, a large rock next to you, some sort of platform that you could bracelet onto, things like that that give you an advantageous position in that fight. And let's use another instance where maybe you're pulling up on a third party and things are going crazy. You as a Loba main always have the ability to take high ground, which keeps you in the safest position. So instead of just running straight to that third party, go and open up a new angle by taking high ground and looking down on the two teams fighting. You'll minimize the amount of damage that you take as a Loba while opening up free shots onto the enemy teams. It's so easy and you really see it in this example right here. Here I am pushing a third party next to waterfall, but instead of just remaining on flat ground and pushing them on low ground, I decided to take high ground and get an angle on them where I am least susceptible to damage. So hopefully it wasn't confusing the way that I've explained it. I really do my best to break it down for you guys. But braceleting up to this ramp right here and taking high ground is something that I do in almost every single fight that I'm in. My mind is always looking for that high ground sweet spot. You must be wary though, because the direct counter to that would be a Horizon main. Sure, you have other movement legends like Pathfinder and Octane that could take high ground, but not nearly as effective as a Horizon. And a Horizon Q goes straight up in the air and takes her whole team with you, and does so very quickly. So that has to be your number one worry when taking high ground as a Loba main. Because as a Loba, you take high ground by yourself, very seldom will you have your teammates there to back you up. So you must be wary of Horizon mains. And I don't need to get deep on that, that's very straightforward. Everybody's playing Horizon now. If I'm a Loba main and I go take high ground and I'm playing against a Horizon, I have to assume before they even make that move that they're going to Horizon Q up on me. So if it's just a Horizon, I'll sit there on high ground, do my best to one-clip her. But if the whole team takes her Q up, then you have to jump off a high ground and go back to your team. I probably spent more time on the subject than I would have liked to, but it's important that you guys understand this as a Loba main. I want to beat it into you guys that every time you get into a fight or you're about to push a fight, you need to be looking for places on high ground. That's literally the most effective way to play Loba. This is how she's meant to be played. Something else that I have to explain too, in Season 15, I'm surprised that more people don't know this. This is something that came out about a few seasons ago. As you guys all know, you're only able to take 2 items out of her black market. But now there is a way to track down the exact location of items within the black market. So of course, use your 2 slots to take the most essential items that you need. But for things maybe not so as essential, like maybe, I don't know, a barrel stabilizer of some sort, you can track down the location of that by entering the black market and pressing your ping button on the item. Then you back out of the black market, take a couple steps back, and you'll see an icon floating around the black market of that barrel stabilizer. Point your camera at it and hold down your ping button, and a white line will appear showing the exact location of said object. And you can repeat this process as many times as you like. Of course, only do that if you have the time to. But you never really need more than 3 items total. 2 out of your black market and 1 using that Loba trick. After that, you're just doing too much. And there's one major tip that I want to give in this video that I haven't talked about in recent videos. But before I get there, I really just want to tell you guys, you have to start being more accurate and precise with your bracelet throws. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Check out this bracelet I threw right on top of a street light. Although you're quite vulnerable with little cover up here, the enemies never expect to play like this. By the time you teleport and pull your gun out, the enemy team, good or bad enemies, are still going to be processing what the hell just happened. And this is how I constantly challenge myself as a Loba, and this is how I became the best Loba in the entire world, by doing bracelet throws like this. It's essentially using the tip that I gave you in the beginning of this video by taking high ground any place you can. Even taking high ground in places that are deemed impossible to take by a Loba. At least that's what the enemy would think. So I just want to put that thought into your mind. Start challenging yourself with throws like this. It's best to do that in pubs. If you die, whatever. There isn't really any more tips that I can give you guys based on that. This is just something that you guys have to start practicing and implementing into your own gameplay as a Loba main in Season 15. And the main tip that I want to talk about is the similarity between Wraith and Loba, and how you as a Loba main could start using your bracelet much like a Wraith uses her phase. Wraith's Q and Loba's Q are almost exactly the same, except Loba's is far better than Wraith's Q. Wraith's Q definitely has her advantages within a building, but most of the time if you're trying to escape, it's always better using Loba's bracelet. This is something that probably a lot of you guys have not thought of yet. Just like Loba, Wraith has a slow animation prior to her phase. But also, unlike Loba, she cannot run while she's about to phase. Wraith is extremely vulnerable, and she's slowed down immensely before she can get that phase off. But just like you would with Wraith, when you sense that you're endangered, bracelet out. I'm talking short distance bracelets. If you're in trouble, turn a quick 180 and throw your bracelet 5-10 feet behind you, perhaps behind some cover or back inside of a building, to prevent you from taking major damage. She's very tactical in this sense. There's a lot of anticipating that you have to do as a Loba main in order to keep yourself healthy. Fortunately for us Loba mains, we are not tied down to the ground like Wraith is when she phases out. These bracelet escapes can be up to high ground, up to middle ground, up to low ground, wherever you might need just to keep yourself safe. So what I'm pretty much saying is start using Loba's bracelet as a last minute bailout. It should never be your priority. You should always position yourself in a manner where you take as little damage as possible. But obviously there are many times where you may have overextended too much and you might be getting swung on by the entire team. Expect to take some damage, but use your bracelet as a last minute bailout to keep yourself alive. Even if the enemy is right in front of your face, you could sense that if you stay in this position, you're about to die. Again, even if the enemy is right in front of your face, bracelet back 5-10 feet and keep yourself alive longer. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I compare her to Wraith a lot because they're very similar in terms of their tactical ability. So I'm telling you that it's okay to start using Loba's bracelet similar to a Wraith phase, but it should be a last resort play. And again, as I've been talking about, you guys have to start getting more aggressive with her bracelet throws. It's as simple as this. Listen up. You're in an isolated 1v1 with somebody. You guys are both sitting behind cover, peeking each other. You happen to do more damage on the enemy than they do to you. So let's say you crack their shield for 100 damage and they shoot you for 20. Bracelet to the front side of their cover, which provides you more cover as you put the bracelet back onto the wrist. You know that animation after you throw your bracelet? Most of the time this is going to force the enemy to cancel their heal and challenge you, and because you have more health than they do, most of the time you should win this fight. Same scenario, you do more damage than they do, they throw a Gibby bubble down, they start running away. Bracelet towards them aggressively, always behind some cover. This prevents them from healing and dragging the fight out any longer, and you should win a majority of these fights. These are just a couple examples, but all in all, I just want you guys to be more aggressive with their bracelet. There's some people out there somehow that say that Loba's not a movement legend, and I literally laugh in their face. It's time for you guys in Season 15 to start being far more aggressive than you are with Loba. And it's actually pretty funny, I finally started seeing more people do this against me as well. Most of the time they won't kill me because I'm a seasoned veteran, but even then there are some circumstances where I die because that play is sometimes so uncounterable that there is nothing that I can do. And if you ever have a Loba main do this to you, pretty much the only counter that you have to that is one clip in them while they're showing their animation. And this is why when people try to throw an aggressive bracelet against me, I'm still able to win that fight 90% of the time despite how much health I have. It's because they do it in the wide open. So again, make sure when you do these bracelet throws aggressively, throw it behind some cover. And just quickly, these are things that I've said in the past, but start using your black market to block down doors. Loba is actually a great counter to Catalyst. When Catalyst reinforces the door, you have to kick that door 4 times before it's destroyed. And if you start doing that, a good Catalyst is just going to open the door and kill you. So instead of being vulnerable while you're destroying her reinforced doors, throw your black market down on the outside of that door. This now blocks that door, and the catalyst holding the inside of that door can no longer open that door because, again, the black market is blocking the door. So now you can kick that door down without ever getting rushed out by the enemy team. And this is good for prepping the door as well. Maybe I don't want to destroy it immediately, so I put my black market down, therefore blocking the door, and I prep it by kicking it 3 times. So if I ever need to come back to that door, all I have to do is kick it once and it's destroyed. That's called prepping. As a Loba main, make sure you're getting wide angles on the enemy team. If you do get flushed out by the enemy, all you have to do is brace it back to your team to safety. Make sure you're using your armor swaps on your black market. Before the fight's even initiated, I usually put my black market down. That's so I can go back to it if I'm weak and grab an armor swap out of it, which saves me a lot of time instead of healing. As I've mentioned before, if you haven't watched my earlier videos about how to play Loba, go watch those as well. There are other concepts that I've already explained that I did not explain in this video, so again, check them out if you haven't already. And that's about all I have for today. This is how you should be playing Loba in Season 15. Please leave a like and a comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to me. I'm trying to hit 30K as soon as possible. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam 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 bam